Hi. Okay, so your settlement is coming up, and one thing that I wanted to address is a common question that I get really often, and that is, as a seller, do I have to attend settlement? So you do not have to attend settlement. Sometimes buyers don't even attend settlement, although that's not as common. But you do not have to attend settlement, and don't feel like you have to attend settlement either. If you are cross country, you do not have to come back to Delaware to sign your settlement paperwork. The internet is a wonderful, beautiful thing, and everything can be mailed or emailed to you, and you can have someone that where you are as a notary of the public sign off on everything, and they can get it to the attorney, or you can usually they have you FedEx it back to the attorney, and everything can be taken care of here. So don't feel like you have to attend settlement, but it doesn't mean that's only for people who are out of state or out of the country. Sometimes it's just really awkward for people to attend settlement, and many people feel like they don't want to attend settlement because it is very emotional, and that's something that you should not be taking lightly as a seller. Understand that it is an emotional thing to go through, and it's something that you should let yourself go through and feel. And if you do not want to attend settlement, you don't have to. And that's very, very common, and it's an option that you have, and I want to let you know that it is an option that many people do take. For example, when I was selling my personal property before I was married, I did actually think, I'm going to go to settlement, I'm going to meet the buyer, but the truth was, towards the very, very end, it got really, really stressful for me. And so I ended up going to the attorney ahead of time, which is another option. I went to the attorney and I signed everything before my closing. And I'm really glad that I did, because it was very, very stressful for me, especially towards the end. You know, there were so many moving parts, and you're moving, and so you're half crazy anyway. And I'm really glad that I did that, because I went to the attorney. I brought everything ahead of time. I signed everything ahead of time. And then what I also did was I gave my agent, who was my mother, I gave her permission to sign for me as needed the day of settlement. And I'm really glad that I did that, because I didn't have to tie up my schedule to be at settlement, because I was getting very, very stressed out, because, you know, things just come up and things happen. And so towards the end, I was just, I needed a little bit more free time. And so I didn't have to worry about attending the buyer settlement. I could go on my own timing. And, you know, the other thing was, I thought I wanted to be there, and I thought it was going to be a really good thing, but it was getting very, very stressful for me and very emotional for me towards the end. And it was very good for me just to be able to go in and sign and be on and move with my day. So what I did was I went into the attorney, I signed everything ahead of time, and then I gave everything to my mother. So I gave my mom the rest of my keys. I did leave one at the house, at the property, in the lockbox, and I gave the rest of them to my mom. I gave her my garage clicker and gave her everything else for the property. So she was acting as my agent in this capacity, and she did everything for me at settlement. And I also gave her permission to sign any last minute things as needed for me at settlement, because that happens. Sometimes there's some form that the attorney needs, and or the lender more often needs, that comes up at the last minute. So I gave her permission to sign for me. So I want you to feel like that you just know that you do not have to attend settlement. If you can't, it's okay. And if you don't want to, that's okay. Don't feel like you have to. The attorneys and the lenders are very used to coordinating things, and they can make arrangements. Now, they do have to know ahead of time. It's a little more difficult to coordinate if it's like a day or two before settlement, because they have to prepare the documents ahead of time and all that. So if you do think this might be something you want to do, just prepare yourself and prepare the attorney that this might be something you want to do, and let them know ahead of time that this is something you're thinking about, so that they can prepare everything ahead of time. So, but don't feel like you have to be there for settlement. I actually had one client who he had to go in for emergency heart surgery a day or two before closing, and so luckily he's fine and wonderful and doing great. But we had actually a power of attorney signed for the purpose of the real estate transaction, and that was it before foreclosing. And luckily, it all worked out, and he was fine. But we weren't sure if he was going to be recovered in time for closing, and he was very much feeling like he didn't care. He wanted it to close, and he didn't care if he couldn't go or if he wasn't physically able to go. But luckily, he was all able to go, and it was fine. So, but don't feel like you have to go to closing if you're out of town, or if you're going to be traveling for work, or even if you just don't want to, or it's not convenient. That's okay. The attorney and the lender can make arrangements and make sure that everything's all taken care of ahead of time. Just make sure that the attorney knows, the lender knows, that I know, and so that everybody is involved and everybody knows that's what you're thinking. But don't be afraid if that's something you want to do, because sometimes towards the end it may be what's okay for people, because it's very, very stressful, especially when you're coordinating multiple moves and all that kind of stuff. So just wanted to let you know that. If it's something you're thinking about, just let us know, and we will be happy to help, and we'll get you to closing. So congratulations, you're almost there. Bye for now.